In this video, we have our equations topic, our lesson 2, solving multi-step equations, part 1, the U-tries broken down. So if you need a little extra guidance, tune in and we will go through these 6 U-tries. So just a little bit of a recap or a little reminder, we want to isolate our variables and we're kind of going to work backwards in our order of operations. So when we isolate our variables, we have to do inverse operations to get our variables by themselves. So just a reminder, for plus or addition, the opposite of addition is subtraction, and the opposite of subtraction is therefore addition. For multiplication, when we have multiplication, the opposite of multiplication is division. So when we see division, the opposite of that would be multiplication. And then last but not least, if you see a fraction being multiplied, you can remember that we can multiply by the reciprocal. So if we see AB times a variable, to undo that that fraction to get the variable by itself, we can multiply by the reciprocal. Okay? So just like I've been doing, I'm going to make my line down my equal sign. That splits it into 2 sides. And if I'm performing an operation on one side of the equal side, or on one side of that bridge, to keep it balanced, I must also do so on the other side. So looking at this first problem, I'm going to put my 3x in the box. I want to isolate that first. So I'm going to do everything else, get rid of everything outside of that box. So for this -4, I'm going to get rid of it by doing the opposite operation, which is to add 4. And if I add 4 on that side, I must keep it balanced by adding 4 on the right-hand side. Okay, so that I'm going to bring my 3x down. That's going to leave me with 3x equals 18. Okay, that was step 1. Now step 2, we're going to say, okay, now we have 3 being multiplied to x. So the opposite of multiplying by 3 would be to divide by 3. So now I'm going to divide this side by 3 to get those 3's to cancel out. And if I divide one side of my equation by 3 to keep it balanced, I must divide the other side by 3. So that gets me x all by itself. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Okay, and then remember, you can always plug that 6 back in to check your work. Looking at number 2, we're going to box the -6y. So we box the thing with the variable. So we want to isolate that -6y. So in order to do that, we must do the opposite of +5. So to get rid of that addition of 5, we are going to subtract 5 on both sides. Remember, if I subtract 5 on that left, I have to keep it balanced by subtracting 5 on the right. And this -6y, I'm going to bring down. The 5 minus 5 goes to 0, and 29 minus 5 goes to 24. Now, remember, rookie mistake, a lot of people want to go ahead and add 6 to both sides, but that -6 is combined with that y through multiplication. There's no plus or minus sign in between, so we know that they're being multiplied. So the opposite of multiplying by -6 would be to divide by -6. So we're going to divide both sides by -6. That's going to leave us with y equals 24 divided by -6 will give us -4. You can plug that back in for y to check your work. Okay, moving right along. Number 3, I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign. Okay, I am going to box the thing with my variable, the w divided by 2. I want to isolate that first. So that tells me I need to get rid of that 7. That 7 is positive and it's being added. It's not attached to that w. So to get rid of a positive 7, I'm going to subtract 7. If I subtract 7 on the left-hand side, I need to subtract 7 on the right-hand side. I'm going to bring my box down. So I have w divided by 2. 10 minus 7 is 3. Now I need to get that w by itself. That has w divided by 2. So the opposite of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. If I multiply the left-hand side, to keep it balanced, I have to also multiply the right-hand side. Now what happens is these 2's cross out, just leaving me with w on the left, and then on the right, I'm going to actually do that 3 times 2, which will leave me with 6. So w equals 6 in number 3. If you wanted to go ahead, you could plug that right on in for w to make sure that the left-hand side and right-hand side are balanced. Looking at number 4, the thing we're going to put in the box is that 5y. We want to isolate that 5y. In this case, once again, that -1 is on the outside and it's separated with that plus sign, but because it's a -1, to move it to the other side, we're going to have to add 1. The opposite of subtraction is addition, and we're going off of this sign. We're not going off of the sign that's between the 1 and the 5y, okay? And so that's going to cancel out the -1 plus 1. Those go to 0. I'm going to bring this 5y down. It's positive. I don't need to put that plus sign. I just know it's positive. And 19 plus 1 is 20. Now my last step here is we have 5 times y, so the opposite of multiplying by 5 would be to divide by 5. Okay, those 5s will cross out on the left. Y is going to equal 20 divided by 5 gives us 4. All right, moving right along to our last 2, number 5 and number 6. Okay. So for number 5, what I want to put in my box is my 2/3 w. I need to get that box by itself, so I currently see a plus 4. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to subtract 4. Okay, I'm going to bring down my 2/3 w. 4 minus 4 goes to 0. 16 minus 4 will go to 12. Now we're left with a fraction, 2/3 times w. So whenever we have a fraction multiplied by a variable, to get rid of that fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. So I can cancel out that 2/3 by multiplying by 3/2. The reciprocal is when you flip the numerator and denominator. Now remember, if we do that on the left-hand side to keep it balanced, we have to also do it on the right-hand side, multiply by 3/2. So on the left-hand side, those are going to cancel out because that's going to give us 6/6, which will just give us 1. We'll be left with w. And then here we're going to do 12 times 3, which will give us 36 all over 2. And 36 over 2 simplifies to 18. Okay. And last but not least, the oddball. So if you've noticed 1 through 5, we added or subtracted first, and then we did multiplication or division to isolate our variable. So the opposite of what you would do in PEMDAS, you take care of your multiplication and division first, and then your addition and subtraction second. So remember, we're undoing that PEMDAS essentially. But number 6 is a little bit different because you have that variable z minus 3, and that entire thing is divided by 8. So what you're really boxing here is z minus 3. That's your package deal because that entire thing is being divided by 8. It's not just the z or not just the -3 being divided by 8. So in this problem, we need to isolate our box, and so what's outside of our box is division of 8. So the opposite, to undo that division of 8, we need to multiply both sides by 8. Now, a lot of people then go and accidentally distribute 8 to z and -3, but you have this 8 and this 8 that are going to cancel out. 8 divided by 8 will just simplify to 1. I'm going to bring my box down, z minus 3, put that line through my z so it doesn't look like a number, and 2 times 8 is 16. Okay, so this is the only type of setup where you're not going to have the addition or subtraction to isolate first. Now, from here, we say, okay, I need to isolate my z, right? So I need to get rid of minus 3. The opposite of minus 3 is to plus 3. If I add 3 on the left-hand side, to keep it balanced, I need to add 3 on the right-hand side. Draw my arrow down. That leaves me with z equals 19. And I can always go ahead and plug that back in to check my work. So hopefully that helps you break down the first multi-step equations lesson. Moving right along, we'll be adding a couple more layers to that. Keep up the great work.